On a much more serious note, drugs remain big business in Mexico. The recent arrest of 3 top-ranking drug warlords shows signs that the business may be changing. The latest arrest was of Juarez drug boss Alberto Carrillo Fuentes, known as Ugly Betty. He faces charges of drug trafficking, murder, and organized crime. For more on the tough campaign Mexican authorities have been waging against drug gang leaders, our guests are Tim Johnson, foreign correspondent for Mcclatchy newspaper in Mexico, and journalist Alfredo Corchado, who's written a book called Midnight in Mexico. Hello to both of you, gentlemen, and thank you very much for taking some time with us. Let me start with you, Alfredo, if I can. Can you sort of explain this, what appears to be encouraging trend of apprehending these big drug bosses? What's behind that? How do you credit it?
Well, I'm not sure that people feel exactly that these are good things to have 4 major drug cartel leaders. Some of them have been very violent in the past, and the hope is that by arresting these key people, the violence will come down. But there's also fear that when you have power voids or voids left in the cartel structure, it will lead to more violence. So I work for the Dallas Morning newspaper, so we're carefully monitoring the Texas side of, the Mexican side, right along the Texas border. These have been very high-profile arrests, except the last one, the person known as Ugly Betty. Not much has been known about this person. In fact, his name was released maybe a month before his arrest. But we are already seeing policemen who have been targeted in Ciudad Juarez, in Nuevo Laredo, and the fear is that violence may spike again in the short term. The hope is that some sort of peace will return in the months ahead.
Tim, let me bring you in on this discussion. How significant is this last arrest of Ugly Betty, and what difference do you think it might make?
Well, as Alfredo said, we don't really know too much about this guy. He's the brother of a very well-known drug lord, Amado Carrillo Fuentes, who died in 1997 after plastic surgery. But the Carrillo Fuentes family is integral to this Juarez cartel, which has controlled the drug smuggling corridor, may not have controlled it, but his battle to control it around Ciudad Juarez and El Paso, Texas. The previous 2 arrests of drug lords in July and August were probably more significant, at least according to public information.
Alfredo, of course, the new president, Mexican President Peña Nieto, decided to change the tact in fighting the war on drugs. Is his new policy to be credited for this? And is there a real sense that there can be ground gained?
Well, there was a lot of talk back in December that, at least the rhetoric changed. It was a real effort to try to change the narrative from, all about drug traffickers and cartel violence, et cetera, to try to spotlight a lot more of the economic gains in Mexico, the economic spotlights, which, it's fair. I think there has to be much more reporting about other things. But if you look at the last 2-3 months, if you look at the headlines, it's almost like the past has become very much the present. And if you look at Peña Nieto's strategy, it really hasn't changed that much from his predecessor, Felipe Calderón. You're seeing the military out in full force again. You're seeing states like Michoacán, state of Mexico, Guerrero, where sometimes it seems like the criminals have the upper hand. And that's been very worrisome, not just for the administration, but obviously for the Mexican people as well.
You know what, Tim, the real reality is, as much as this is crime, this is business, and the law of supply and demand rules here. So much of that demand is here in the United States. Doesn't that have to be a part of this strategy?
Well, absolutely. The crime has a correlation with the demand for drugs in the United States. So, there'll be tactics. As Alfredo said, these new tactics sort of look like the old tactics in Mexico. But the drug demand in the U.S. continues to be quite high.
Right. We're going to have to stop the conversation right there. But Alfredo Corchado, Timothy Johnson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome, Debbie.
And you're watching Arise America.